Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be continuing our Monogatari series journey here with episode 5 of Off and Monster Season, continuing Nadeko Draw's little journey, I guess you would say. And yeah, pretty excited to be here doing just that. So last week I said, hey, potentially 2 this week. I've since learned that there's probably a better structure for this. So apparently there's an episode 6.5, which is about half length. It's completely necessary to watch and should lead into episode 7, which is the new arc, pretty well. So I'm thinking, instead of me doing 5 and 6 today, and then 6.5 and 7 the following week, which would probably be a little bit too much and just catch me up ultimately too quickly, I think doing 5 today, 6 next week, 6, 5, and 7 the following week is probably the best way to do that, with the possibility then, of course, of doing additional episodes on top of that, depending on when that next arc ends, I think. Again, it's a really tenuous spot. Let me actually get up this, because I have it right in front of me right now, where I'm legally getting the episode, of course. I have 3 weeks ahead of me, so there's not really even that much to catch up on, you know what I mean? I don't have that much room to do 2 episodes at a time, so wasting that here is probably not wise, because it may lead to worse situations later on with worse stopping points. That's just my read on it as of right now. And yeah, the way the production's been going for this show as well, I would not be surprised if there is a week break here and there for this kind of show as well. Just putting it out there. I think it's on the cards. Either way, the best way to start the video, of course, is to jump over to the YouTube comments, where we have only the one comment this time. As always, if you're a patron, you have the comments available to you, and you can comment below anything you want to say to me about the show. Again, last week's episode was kind of low-key, so it's not really surprising that there isn't a ton of comments. Only the one here from Backslash, of course. I will never grow tired of your yap sessions about this series. It makes me whole. It's nice to know that I'm appreciated. That's basically all I have to say to this. Thank you. These are the kind of comments that I really like. Obviously, it's like a compliment. I like getting complimented. It's nice. Yeah, I like talking about the show, and especially this new stuff. It's been so holistic, maybe is a word for it. Taking in everything that's come before it in a way that allows you to jump off to different places and talk about different things basically constantly. Again, I've talked about the overall tone of this arc thus far, which has been stepping out into the world after a long time, right? Matching the tone of the audience as well. So thus, we're reintroducing a bunch of things, and there's a bunch of things to talk about, of course. We're kind of checking in with all the characters as well, I've noticed, like Senjugahara's there for a second, Kambaru's there for a second, Sodachi's there for a second. There's lots of stuff going on in that respect as well. Yeah, it show's good. I'm really, really enjoying it, way more than I thought I would. Not that I thought it was going to be bad or anything, but you know what I mean there. Patrons, let's get that patron list up, of course, and do that. Because, of course, if you wanted to be 1 week ahead, if you wanted to see episode 6 1 week early, you can pay me $6 and access that at your leisure. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Many cool people have done such a thing, such as Mickey Babbers, Charles++, Anders Harlan, Backslash, Bobbin, Sherbo Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Flown Nightingale, Fried Rice, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Gus N, Heath, Hex, Ika, Yanko Yavanen, Joran, Kelvin, Kimskell, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Mish, Mistake El Chen, Nailu, Nick, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Ron Lad BNK, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Without a Net, Zan Echo, Meme, Zach, Binchy, Hans Peter, Marsh, Voodoo Chili, Aiden O'Brien, Sinarin, and Funny Fat Guy. Thank you to all the patrons for giving me money, of course. I like money. So last week I called it a transitional episode, and I tend to agree with myself. That's the wrong button. Where's the right button? That's the right button. There we go. Transitional is what I would call last week, because not much actually occurred in the plot. We caught Wrathful Nadeko. That's probably the most major thing, and learnt a few things about how God Nadeko and Meek Nadeko are working together. Other than that, it was mostly jokes and a little bit of internal stuff for current Nadeko that I quite enjoyed, kind of following this trend of these different portions of herself commenting back at her about her dream, right? So initially we had flirty Nadeko saying that following your dream is embarrassing. True, it is, especially for that aspect of her personality that is concerned with social status and standing out in the class and so forth. I know that you guys have been to school before. Doing stuff like that is embarrassing. You want to seem all cool and nonchalant and stuff and not care about anything, when in reality that isn't the best for yourself personally all the time. Again, I can identify with that for sure, for sure. The other aspect, of course, was wrathful Nadeko, right? Which is like manifesting this anger at needing to put in the effort. Just really tired and not wanting to do the work that is involved in achieving the dream, right? Maybe instead of wrathful, invoking a little bit of sloth there. One of the other sins. Yeah, cool stuff. I'm mad at me for putting in effort and it's hard. And I don't like that. It's frustrating. Why can't it just be easy? I don't want to do this. But you do want to do it. That's the thing, right? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of idea bounces off these next couple, right? So what is Meek Nadeko going to have to say about that, right? The first Nadeko, the fucking primeval Nadeko, right? The very first one we saw in the show. What aspect of her personality is that going to symbolize, right? God Nadeko. I was a god once. Why should I even have to try to do such a thing? Maybe that's an angle we'll go there. Of course, we should explain the Yotsugi element as well. Yotsugi got baited by Meek Nadeko to go up to the shrine. God Nadeko took her out, sliced her into a million pieces. We put her back together and she's got a pretty cool new character design as a result. So cool. She's lost a hand. She's using a dirt hand at the moment. We're using a hand as a tracking device for God Nadeko at the moment. She's a little bit weaker. She can't use unlimited rulebook, and that may result in some difficulties later on. Hachikuji is also being brought up as something that may occur. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to kill Hachikuji, or at least supersede her as the god of the shrine again, trying to take back that place. Also, there's a ticking time bomb around Meek Nadeko becoming a god, potentially. But again, we'll jump off of all these here in a moment. Yeah, not much else to say timeline-wise, just keeping an eye on a few other things that may have been going on around this time as well for later on stuff when we come back to other characters. Like, where's Aragi during this time? What's going on with Senjo? Will we refer back to that phone call at any point? I don't know. Yeah, let's jump into the episode. I think that's probably the best way to go. Just some more chill stuff. If you want to talk to me about the show on any level, Discord's probably the best way to do that. I'm always open there for discussion and that kind of thing. Any other shows you want to recommend for the channel as well? Not that we're coming close to ending anything anytime soon. Probably closest is Apothecary Diaries, I would say. Yeah, you can recommend shows in the Discord as well. I'm always willing to, take on more recommendations and that kind of thing. Put more stuff on polls. Like the video, subscribe, comment below, all that normal stuff. Let's jump in. Episode 5. Episode 5 of Off and Monster Season, Episode 4 of the Arc. Yeah, sure. Alright, I'll catch you guys in a second. I'll bring the episode up. Radio chat room, Episode 5 up there, ready to go. I am currently looking at Nadeko's feet. Sure. Time code, 25 minutes and 5 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. I'm using the MTBB subs and the honorifics version if you wanted to be that specific about it. Yeah, picture in the description below. Let's jump in. Give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1. Go. 21. I'm recording. Cute. That walking down from the shrine there. Yeah, avant-garde. That's very similar to Nadeko Snake, I thought. Like the first time we saw Nadeko. Oh! Okay, let's go. Adorable. Oh my god, the background. How cool. Tag teaming. Yeah, throw the Pokeballs. So I thought this was more metaphorical last week. This seems like it's a little bit more literal. Yeah. One of them's got a knife. That's pretty good. Yeah, that one. Fantastic. How good. Oh, only useful as an Otori. Oh, shit. Will it apply in practice? Hang on. Ooh, maybe there. Yeah. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Thank you, my spirit guide, Yotsugi. The background is so fucking good. To become a master. Oh, well, that one as well. What's this SpongeBob music? I love this scene. The scene's so good. Oh yeah, this is great. Love the ice cream here too. Think about it. Yeah, the video game thing again, huh? Literally Pokemon? Yo! I was right about the Pokeballs. Let's go. Yeah, that would be really bad. How good? Seishun manga. Yeah, so true. Divinity and naivete. This is great. Because they're all me. Oh yeah, I forgot we had an opening. How long was that opening scene? Oh yeah, not that long. This episode's already like a 10. Like, I don't know. Like, it could just be like a black screen for the rest of it and it'd still be a 10. I wonder where I'll end up ranking this arc. It would be fun for me to bring back up that tier list maybe after the arc's done and just kind of find a spot for it. Again, I'm trying to find a balance between there's two schools of thought. There's recency bias school of thought, right? And there's older always better school of thought, and I'm trying to find an in between. Because I'm really hot on this at the moment, right? But that could be recency bias. But do I only think that because the old stuff has had longer to resonate? You know what I mean? Again, time will tell ultimately, but I think this is really great so far. I really, really do. Monogatari coming back and being this good in 2024 was not on my bingo card, I'll tell you that. Opening's growing on me too, for sure. I find myself humming it sometimes, so that's normally a good sign. Really like that last shot too. Mm-hmm. Feet. They're loving the feet today. Jesus. Was that Mr. Donut? Let's go. Oh, Oh, shit. Yeah, the bookstore from Nadeko Snake. Oh yeah, it has a link to a Tori as well. Did she just think she was cute there? What was that? CG car. Oh. I mean, that'd be great. I'd love to see Shinobu. Certified harmless. She beat your ass, I'll tell you that. Yeah. Which we can't say his name, even though he's the main character. Nadi. Yeah, I don't know about that nickname. God Hachikuji. It's a really cool shot too. I'd be worried about yourself as well. Remember, they're going to take you out if it's too dangerous, you know? Specifically Gaian. Um, I don't believe you. Oh, to make everything look like nothing? Yeah, like this is a metaphor. Epic skill. She's loving the new hand, for sure. Nadeko. Yes. Okay, so we've got to pick our battles. Pokemon type charts. Who's super effective against who? That's what we've got to figure out. Who was touching that book? Well, I mean, that looks like Meek Nadeko. Yeah, just hanging out in the swimsuit. Yeah, I must remember there's a problem about timeline, wearing the swimsuit versus wearing the bloomers. Jesus Christ. Cool. Sounds like I'm saying cool whip. Yeah, let's go at it alone. That seems like an awesome idea. That seems like a good type chart thing. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I agree. It's very early in the episode. At least you're thinking about it. Love that shot. What's a Scooby Doo? What did you overlook? There we go. Dunno. The show probably wouldn't have happened. Explain yourself. I'm literally gonna die. Send help. Is she dying, chat room? Because I can see her dying here. Like, actually. What is this? Explain yourself. There are many Nadekos. Okay, she doesn't look dead. Oh, let's go. My Pokemon friend. Thanks. Isn't this nice? I stole it. With her permission, of course. Yeah, so not cool. Thinking about your occupation. Yeah. Please run away. Love the voice acting. Love the dialect in the voice too. Dialect, is that the right word? The choice of words. Very flirty Nadeko. What an odd thing to say. What caused the books to fall, though? Cute. Cornell pumps. Thanks for the drawing advice. She's fucking dead. Anyway, at least we didn't die. I really like that scene. Tad on the nose, but it's really good. The music's doing a lot as well. That's great. Yeah, love that too. A pinky promise with myself. Yeah. True. Fantastic. Very good. Now what? Calamity. It certainly is calamitous. I'm just worried about the poor librarian having to put this all back together. Hey. Yeah, finally, after a while. I would know. Really? Interesting. I didn't know that. Mm, mm. And we've still got another familiar. Don't forget. Mm-hmm. Getting a little bit anxious. Yeah, there we go. Do it for free as well. Oh, we're in the manga section. I see. I see, I see. A ton more sightings. Yeah, who produced a bunch of me with no fucking top on? Yeah, this bitch has been photocopied. Oh, literally? That's fun. Very dangerous. Yeah, I'm still uncomfortable. They certainly are looming. Oh, shogi metaphor. The background there was great too. Lots of good stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of pawns. Jump scare. Sure, maybe if you understand Japanese. But I got what you were saying. I love it when she does a spin. That way. You'd have to think so. Very clever. I like that a lot. Also, stop blaming Tsukihi. Just get over it. Yeah, come up with a plan, protagonist. Do it. No. You'd have to imagine the latter. Yeah. The metaphors here are fantastic. Murder them all, I say. It's just not a good haircut at all, really. Okay, so like redraw her. Is that what you mean? Fucking murder them all, kill them. Maybe not that hard. Alright, we went. Okay, everyone calm down. Yotsugi's dead. Alright, we found her. What's up? The hardest beat of 2024. Oh, this is fucking great. Are we there yet? Oh shit, we are. No way! Fuck you. No way. Just as the boss fight's beginning. Man. Shit. That was a really good episode. Yeah, just above everything else, just like divorced from all the other like really cool like metaphors and story and character stuff that's like folding in on itself. I just think it's like so fun. It's what a fun arc. Like honestly. Love the tone here. Like there's so much stress in earlier Nadeko arcs. I love that this isn't stress free, obviously, but like it's so much lighter. And I think that's a really cool distinction, again, between these arcs. Compare this to Atori, and Atori's just it's a mess. It's a tangled mess of a person that doesn't know what to do or when or how. It's a broken person. And this arc feels so much more like a person on the up. Like a person repairing themselves and feeling a lot better about everything. I just love how that's gotten across. Yeah, up to and including like there's like a relaxing scene by the pond very early in the episode that I really, really enjoyed. Feels like therapy almost. Yeah, and I feel like everything's making sense. In the past with Monogatari, I've been quite confused. I feel like I'm pretty good here. At least for now. Famous last words, of course. Yeah, I'll write something up and we'll return and talk about that episode again, shall we? Let's do that. And we're back, episode 5 of Off and Monster Season in the bag. I thought it was an incredible one. I had a great time here. I expressed a lot of those feelings in the ED already, just around the overall tone of the show. And again, against other Nadeko arcs, I think this one, they're really striking what they want to strike with them. And I think that's really impressive, right? Like, it shows that everything that came before it had purpose because this new one is different and has purpose. Do you know what I mean? That, like the old one, it wasn't, like, scary and tense by accident because they've also demonstrated now that they're not being scary and tense by accident when it isn't appropriate. I guess this is obvious. I guess what I'm saying here is obvious, but I really feel like it's a distinction here between the Nadeko arcs that's really matching her changes in a very, very cool way. And yeah, I can't help but enjoy it. It's very, very good and funny. It's just really funny. It's great. It's really good. No notes, really. That being said, I'm going to go back through it after I've taken some notes here. about what actually occurred. Not much like actually happened tangibly. A lot of this episode, and I'm thinking the next episode as well, is going to be very themey, internal, let's say. Because, like, we're going to beat God Nadeko, and something else may happen, but that's about it. That's all I expect from next episode, really. It's about how and the why and the what it means, which is what will make it interesting, I think. Much like this episode, again, if I can summarize 25 minutes of content in that much, then not a lot actually occurred, really, tangibly. Either way, Nadeko and Yotsugi make their way down the mountain and have a quick pit stop to change clothes and eat some ice cream. We'll talk about the ice cream. Also, the walk down the mountain. We'll talk about it all. Here we formulate a plan to use the other Nadekos like Pokemon and use them in combat against Meek Nadeko and God Nadeko. Fair enough. Again, last week I didn't know that we were going to, like, literally use them. I guess that does make sense. They are familiars, of course. The enemy Nadekos have chosen the bookstore as their base of operations. We'll talk about that as well. Very interesting. Yotsugi and Nadeko quickly make their way inside. It seems mostly empty on the first floor before current Nadeko finds Mink Nadeko in a swimsuit alone on the first floor. She goes to capture her, but it was a trap, a notori, a decoy, one may say, and all the bookcases on the first floor begin to fall. So the way I understand this was a setup from God Nadeko. She was using Meek Nadeko as a trap. Again, all the Nadekos are the same Nadeko, so they kind of think the same things very often. Like, God Nadeko on some level knew that current Nadeko would try to capture Meek Nadeko, right? Thus, I'm going to put her out there, and then hopefully she can't escape, and all the bookcases are going to fall because I've rigged them to fall for some reason. Because I'm a god. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly what the purpose there was. I am still question marking and querying the existence of Meek Nadeko and if she actually died. It's just like, she must have died, right? Yeah, she must have. I would have verified such a thing. Especially considering, I guess, the setup that there would be two God Nadekos. That Meek Nadeko would become God Nadeko at one point as well. So, keeping an eye on it. That'd be a good stakes raise if there was actually two God Nadekos the entire time. Keeping an eye on it. Either way, everything starts falling, and Nadeko is saved by flirty Nadeko in a touching scene that we'll go through in very much depth. In a lot of depth. Let's speak proper English here. So she basically just blocks the bookcase from falling. Current Nadeko crawls out. Flirty Nadeko is perished. She is done. Either way, sacrifice is done. Thank you, Flirty Nadeko. We're onwards and upwards to the second floor. They find 100 Lumi Nadekos, and in the process discover that they're all the familiars of God Nadeko. So now this makes sense. So there was only ever one Nadeko in a swimsuit, and only really had one job, which was to go out and be bait for somebody. Probably Yotsugi, right? Go out, be bait, make sure you're seen by her, and then walk up. The other Lumi Nadekos were part of another ploy. And I don't know the purpose there, but it existed. I guess. The timeline, of course, there would need to be that probably they would use Flirty Nadeko first and drag Yotsugi up, kill Yotsugi, then go to the bookstore, and then start making copies. And that's when all these Lumi Nadekos start showing up. That's what I think the timeline there would be. Not that I think it has much bearing on anything yet. I'm yet to see the purpose of the Lumi Nadekos. Maybe they'll have a more concrete purpose a little bit later on, we'll say, in this upcoming fight. But for right now, I don't really see a purpose to them, other than them being used in the process of pushing Nadeko towards the Araragi household where she may know that Wrathful Nadeko is. Maybe? That seems convoluted. Maybe there's another purpose. Again, the metaphorical purpose there is that, hey, if we have 100 Lumi Nadekos, they're mirroring the snake familiars that I used to have when I was a god. All these previous versions of myself, I'm using them as snakes. I'm using them as that metaphor, that Atori Monogatari stuff. I'm killing them in the process. There's a ton there, right? The white snakes and so forth. Pretty cool. Either way, they seem peaceful enough, the familiars for right now, so we use the time to formulate a new plan around cutting Wrathful Nadeko's hair, giving her a haircut. Again, that was the main purpose behind her being mad. Tsukihi cut the bangs. She didn't have anything to hide anymore. Getting a bad haircut pisses me off as well, so again, if we draw her better, much like the advice that Flirty Nadeko gave us, right? Draw them better, maybe they'll become different. Yeah. Keeping an eye on it, that's definitely our trump card for next episode, because God Nadeko looks like she wants to fucking murder us. If I was to guess structure of next episode, it would be something along the lines of fight God Nadeko for a bit, we unveil our trump card in Wrathful Nadeko, and with her cut hair, we start to get on top, another god appears, and then current Nadeko needs to do something, or we get saved, or something happens there, right? So we start off God Nadeko, then Wrathful Nadeko comes out, then other God Nadeko shows up, which is Meek Nadeko, and then we move from there to whatever the climax may be. Yeah, I think that's how we're gonna go. But either way, that was that episode. Let's go back through it now from the very start, because that's only one level of it. That's just the literal what happened, how it's being told, and the visuals present within is more than half of the fun, I would say. Very, very good episode in that regard. Let me get it up now. We start the episode here with some shots that feel, I would say, oddly familiar. Again, the first time we meet Nadeko in the entire show is when Kambaru and Araragi are walking down the mountain, and we just randomly spot Nadeko. Araragi doesn't recognize it at first because he's the most forgetful man alive. So I think we're kind of mirroring that here in a fun way, especially with all the Meek Nadeko content and kind of retreading Nadeko's snake that we do this episode, along with the bookstore and that kind of thing. It just, this fits Nadeko's snake for mine, because, it's... You see Nadeko, then you see Nadeko again in the bookstore, definitely mirroring those couple episodes there. I was wondering where this next conversation takes place. This is Nadeko's house. This is the Sengoku residence, is what we say. It's interesting that you call your own house that as well. And it's also interesting that you're not holed up in your room, right? This is like... Or maybe you are, what are all these locks? Oh, I think I remember the locks. Are the locks in... Are they in Nisei somewhere? When Flirty Nadeko's out and about? Why is there a ton of locks? Yeah, it's also a metaphor, but like, why? Anyway, cool costume alert. I really like this new, the new digs here. Even got some orgy sleeves going on. Don't get me started about sleeve jobs either. We're not talking about that. We're in like Nadeko's kitchen. She's outside of her room, Chad. We did it. Even though she's eating cup noodle, I would try making food, but them's the breaks, I guess. She's out of her room. That's great. Immediate shout-outs to this color scheme as well in the back here. Definitely the thing that's characterizing this scene the most, this kind of peaceful stream that's rushing by. I mean, again, contrast this to a lot of the visual storytelling in Notori Monogatari, and you'll see a ton of differences, right? Why are we, we're so, this is so cordial and calm and beautiful and stuff. I would say the color scheme here as well, with the greens and the purples, mirrors a Yotsugi color scheme as well, I would say. A very Suki Monogatari color scheme in general, which is odd. It's just really nice. And definitely characterizes the scene there for sure. During this scene as well, we have a visual metaphor for all the different Nadekos using ice cream tubs. Now, let's cast our minds back to Tsukihi Undo and the eating of the ice cream by yours truly, which is definitely being referenced here. So I went on a bit of a convoluted rant in that particular episode about the use of the ice cream, right? The ice cream being the impetus for the loop even beginning, right, is you eating the ice cream and then Tsukihi seeing you, right? Why do you feel like you need to eat the ice cream? Because the ice cream is, or eating ice cream in general, is like a humanoid quality. Like as a Shikigami pretending to be a human, or whatever you classify yourself as, a humanoid aberration, eating ice cream and that kind of thing is important, especially if somebody like Araragi gives me it. So again, in a perfect world, a perfect robot like you wouldn't eat the ice cream. They wouldn't have to eat the ice cream. But the ice cream drawing you into that vortex of chaos of Tsukihi is filled to the brim with meaning, for sure, much like the ice cream tin itself. So now, if we're looking at that metaphorically, ice cream means humanness, right? I can't think of a better visual metaphor for all these different parts of Nadeko, right? And her kind of reconciling all of these different failures within herself, but also her humanity as well, right? I feel like that's kind of what we're getting at with this, right? Again, of course, with Tsukiji Undo back in the day as well, there was a lot of contrast between the heat and the cold as well. The heat of the match and the flame at the very end of the episode combined with the ice cream at the very start, going from a cold, dead experience to something that's full of life. I can't see much there with regards to fire in this episode, but it'd be cool if we used that a little bit later on as well. Again, the fire itself attached way more to the phoenix and the burning and the rebirth and that kind of thing, but I just think the ice cream's neat. I just wanted to say it. Maybe some mint choc ice cream as well. Loving the what do you call this? Oh my god. There's a word for this particular piece of clothing. Letterman? Is that? Yeah, leather jacket and mint green too. Loving it. Good fashion, guys. Just a great character design in general. I don't know about the two hats though. It's a little bit extra, but sure. Okay, I don't want to go too off the deep end, but if somebody has an analysis for like what each of the different flavors correspond to which type of character, sure. Maybe the plain one is Meek Nadeko. I don't know. Strawberry. Maybe flirty. I don't know. We're not going to do this. Shut up, me. Oh, yeah. There's where it tells you anyway. Flirty's grape? What? God is strawberry or something? I don't know what's going on. What's your favorite ice cream flavor, chat room? Or gelato in this case? Please let me know down below. Really love this visual for the two Nadekos coming together, the two within our possession, to form a greater whole. If we were to use the advantages of both of these characters, then we're sure to come out on top. Because we know what they're about and we know who trumps who. Again, Pokemon type chart type stuff. Oh, that's really fun too. So Meek Nadeko was the one that had the chisel, and the chisel was used to kill snakes, right? That's what Nadeko was doing back up on the mountain that day, if we remember correctly, right? Killing snakes. So you stole that the same way that you stole Meek Nadeko's clothes. So you guys both bully the fuck out of her, and the only one we really need to worry about here is God Nadeko. Right, gotcha. So yeah, all these different versions of Nadeko, like bullying the first version is very interesting, right? Like, stole the chisel, stole the clothes, stole her life, used her as a decoy, used her as a meat shield. So is this correct, chat? I think we implied last week that the chisel used was something that's used in the creation of manga, right? Is that a clue from the very start that she was using like a tool in the creation of manga in the killing of the snakes, and that's a clue to her thing that she was hiding in the closet? Yo, that's kind of cool. If that's correct. I don't even know if it is. Everyone's just so nice this arc. I guess I should get to the general point of this scene in general. It's to basically tell Nadeko to pick herself up and try again, right? Hey, initially using these familiars and that kind of thing, it didn't work out. They all ran amok, they ran away. They've put us into the predicament that we're in right now. But is that a reason to give up? Do we think that we failed once, so we shouldn't try again? Definitely not. That's definitely not what the show's getting at, right? It's the same general idea with the whole, like, getting better at manga thing, right? Like, you don't just write a masterpiece manga one day and tick it off and it's done. You try and try again. You hone your craft. That's what you're doing here right now, mirroring the manga stuff with your own kind of supernatural specialist stuff. You didn't do it right the first time. That doesn't mean give up. Clean up your mistakes, of course, and try again. So, again, in the episode, that's what we're doing. We finally get to the heart of flirty Nadeko, and she helps us out. We tried the whole familiar thing again, and it worked perfectly. It worked great. She put her life on the line for me, you know? And if we didn't have this encouragement here, we never would have attempted such a thing. Just very well done. So yeah, again, I just talked about it, but I love the mirroring between the manga side and the specialist side, right? So hey, in that same, because they're both for the same purpose, basically. They're both to prove her worth. They're both to prove that she's worth the salt and that kind of thing, right? And ultimately getting to this point of effort and ability and trying and experimentation and living in life and humanity and everything else in between, right? More than anything, it's just super, like, inspiring. I really like it from that perspective. Also, yeah, I thought we were going to talk about the manga here, but we talk about having Guyan recognize you as harmless. That's the most important thing here, at least from your perspective, right? And yeah, when the music started up here, it's got a little bit of that surfy guitar going on. I'm like, this sounds like the fucking SpongeBob ending song. Just a little bit. It added to the scene for sure. It kind of goes into a bit more of a Renai circulation pastiche thing. as it continues, though. Oh, I'm stupid. Yo, there's our hot element to our cold. Great. Yeah, that's why she's eating a cup noodle. Love it. That's so good. And again, the cold being on that side of Ononoki, and her eating ice cream, her partaking in that humanity and eating it as she's explaining this very human concept to Nadeko. That's great. And yeah, almost feeding off of the heat of her side, right? This combination of the heat and the cold in the scene and making each other better. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. How good's that? So as always with Monogatari, there is some tangible specialist reason for them listening to her now, but again, that kind of stuff doesn't matter. I saw this on Twitter, I think the other day. Somebody was talking about law and how law is the bane of existence and we hate law. I don't think that's entirely correct either, but I saw a comment underneath it, or maybe it was a quote retweet or something like that. It was something to the effect of, this is how Monogatari works. Monogatari doesn't explain the law because the law's not important. Monogatari's premise in a less smart writer than Nisuwa Sin would over-explain the shit out of all the kind of magical stuff, right? Over-explain it to hell and back, to the point where the actual text would be unreadable, and it would get kind of stuck in the minutiae and that kind of stuff, which isn't ultimately important to the characters, to the narrative that we're trying to tell. Exposing how the specialist stuff actually works is not the purpose of Monogatari. Again, as always, it is a structure. It is a very loose structure on purpose so we can get to the characters, which is the most important element. So yeah, really like that. So again, as I was saying, because I've conquered them once, they're more likely to obey me. But again, it's more like I've conquered what they represent metaphorically for conquering this aspect of myself, rather than just a rote kind of occult power scaling system, I guess. I don't know, think about it like Pokemon. Once you've, gotten above a certain level cap and you out-level the Pokemon you're trying to catch, they're easier to catch and they obey you more. You get more badges and higher level Pokemon kind of obey you. It's kind of that vibe as well. Speaking of Pokemon, wild familiars appeared. Oh no, it's kind of a double battle here as well. With the battery logo here, you would have to imagine that this is the original Game Boy as well, which is fun. Is there anything to 1059 HP? Do we ever? No, we don't get a HP number up here. They're both level 15 because they're 15 years old. Is 1059 anything? Either way, the metaphor gets across that, hey, if we're not in control of these two and they overpower us, then they can take these and form one big team, and then we're fucked. Everybody's all enemies. Current Nadeko blacked out. Perfect. And again, as Monogatari always does, we end this scene with a very tropey, manga-ish line, again, reflecting Nadeko's manga back at her. If I were to put it in a way an adolescent manga series would, Sengoku Nadeko, the time has come for you to overcome your past self. Very classic line. I thought it was apt. I didn't think it was overly cheesy. Yeah, it's about time for me to reconcile all these different pieces, and yeah, that's what we're going to do, going into that kind of finalistic section of this particular arc in episodes 4 and 5. Getting me all pumped up, I've filled my stomach, now the war is finally beginning. Very, very cool. Oh yeah, this opening scene here is really fun. So you're pointing in the direction where your hand is, right? And it's kind of making these sounds like it's directing as well. We also get a fun mention of my favorite Monogatari location, Mr. Donut, of course, in the fucking Arizonan countryside. Yeah, just top 1 Monogatari location. Yeah, top 2 and an 8 too. Either way, we point towards our actual location. It seems like they've kind of set up shop in the bookstore. Again, this is reflecting Nadeko Snake back at us. This is one of the major locations of Nadeko Snake. It comes back in a later arc as well somewhere, I think. I've seen this location many a time, I feel. I really like this kind of Western movie, really tropey, actiony music that we're playing right now. It's like we're marching into war. That's the kind of tone in the soundtrack. I really think it fits the scene. The soundtrack's been top-notch this episode. I must say, it feels very Kaguya-sama, which makes sense because a lot of Monogatari stuff did work on that as well. Yeah, it really fits. It's really fitting the tone, I feel. Oh, we're even literally playing footage from Bakemonogatari here too. That's pretty cool. Or maybe not Bake, maybe that's stuff we discover in Koi or Otori or something. I don't know. A couple of things noticed here as we continue. Yotsuki and Nadeko are becoming quite close, or at least Yotsuki's taking a liking to her, adopting a lot of cute, pet names and that kind of thing. Something akin to Oni Oni-chan, I would say. Nadeko here, also out of curiosity, asks what the backup plan would have been. What was the alternative plan? Let's go get Shinobu. Shinobu's pretty cool. We even do the whole name thing here. I think this whole section's very good, where we go through all the words and that kind of thing. Vampiric teeth in the back. Hey, we could have brought in Shinobu, right? Even going through all the iron-blooded, hot-blooded, cold-blooded. Look at this fucking Kizumonogatari shit. Hell yeah. Oh, the great use of the car mirrors here too, as we're walking along past all the different CG cars. Yeah, very, very well done. But either way, you know, I saw this immediately. What's the problem with getting Shinobu? Shinobu's a two-person deal. You can't just get Shinobu, right? She's literally the shadow, maybe the mirror of another different character. Where is he? There he is, Mr. Hair himself, Mr. Hair thingy. Oh, that's fucking fantastic. Oh my god, look at this. Look at this sign. Oh no. Okay, let me explain this. Araragi. You see what they're doing here, right? Along with the car. Oh, and the street sign too. Yo, everything's happening. That's crazy. Get it? Because he has a car now. Yo. Yeah. So smart. Holy fuck, this is a good scene. So let me try and get this name. We're translating it as Nadi. Nadeko. It seems like a little bit of a change on the Nadeko, I think. Yeah, sure, maybe makes more sense in Japanese. Nadaku, is it? Yeah, Nadeku. Yeah, Deku? Oh no, don't call her Deku. That's something else. Interesting that we bring this up here. If your life seems like it's in danger, I'm not going to follow your wishes. I will bring in somebody if I have to. I'm not going to let you die like this, right? I'm not going to let this whole situation get out of control like that. So, if shit hits the fan, maybe Shinobu shows up and then maybe Araragi shows up. But again, the purpose of this arc overall is to show personal growth for Nadeko, so I don't think that we're going to go that nuclear with it, unless it's also combined with her having some kind of epiphany that's personal to her, I would say. Oh yeah, whether it be Kiss Shot, whether it be Gain, or whether it be Hachikuji, Kami Mamita. Fantastic. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be Shinobu, I guess. It's a very interesting motivation for Nadeko as well. It seems almost like one of her major motivations is to not make Yotsugi's career worse. To make sure she doesn't disappoint her bosses more than anything else. Which, yeah, sure, that's a motivation, I guess. Very second person, I would say. Oh, another fun piece of visual storytelling here is Nadeko's face on the door there, and splitting the personality, splitting in two, splitting it open as we walk inside the doors there. The bookstore is also called Haruya Bookstore. Is that just a random name, or does that have a little bit more meaning with it? I do not know. We walk into the bookstore, we hear no music at all, and like kind of no one's around. I really like the lack of music here, befitting of a library, of course, but also befitting of meek Nadeko. All that personality and kind of pomp and circumstance in the previous scene, buoyed by the soundtrack, is like brought to a halt as we enter here. Meek Nadeko doesn't need such accompaniment. She's a blank slate. She's nothing, right? There's an oddity bend to this as well. It's not quite a barrier that we've put up, but it kind of is. It's the familiar special ability that makes everything seem overly normal. Too quiet almost, you know? This empty bookstore could be seen as the scenery of Meek Nadeko's mind. Meek Nadeko was wandering around looking like a pervert, yet wasn't arrested. More evidence to this coming through. Really liking this element of the storytelling here. I missed this in the moment, but Yotsugi gives the piece of advice that we must only activate one familiar at a time, right? So hence why we didn't also have Wrathful Nadeko helping with the bookcase a little bit later on. We see this gotten across in the visual storytelling of the kind of manga volumes on the bookshelf, right? So the 5th volume, the latest one, me, current Nadeko, and the 2nd volume, Flirty Nadeko, kind of pincering the initial one, right? Then we'll use Wrathful Nadeko in a very similar maneuver with God Nadeko, right? Where we pincer her. So instead of having one 3-on-2 fight, it's better to have two 2-on-1 fights, as opposed to the alternative, I would say. Apparently activating 2 familiars at once is an absolute taboo. Then why did you try to activate 4 before? Were you stupid? Maybe. So here's the state of play for this particular encounter, right? So, God Nadeko's upstairs, we point with the hand. That's where she is, right? We know that for a fact because the hand's there. Makes sense, right? Yotsugi continues upstairs. She's leading the way. However, Nadeko, current Nadeko, is distracted by meek Nadeko. She turns around and sees her. Oh shit, I gotta go get her quick while she's defenseless, while she's alone, right? I can't contact Yotsugi because that would make noise and it would echo throughout this very empty library, this very empty bookstore, right? Therefore, I must sneak up on her by myself and separate myself from Yotsugi in the process. Otherwise, I think this is a good justification for the trap occurring, because if Yotsugi was just here, she would be able to fix this like immediately using her supernatural powers, but she's not, for a pretty understandable reason. I like this. So cool, we've nicknamed Luminadeko, whatever we called her, the one in the bloomers, by taking the letters off and that kind of thing, shortening it up. We're going to do the same thing with the school-issued swimsuit Nadeko by shortening the school part to cool. This is cool Nadeko with a cool. Correctly here, we assume that this would be the right stage for Flirty Nadeko. Flirty Nadeko has literally already bullied Meek Nadeko before. That has a type advantage over her. It is ironic, of course, that this type advantage isn't used. Instead, we need to rely on somebody's brute strength. Again, not Flirty Nadeko's area of expertise. Goes to show that she's kind of working out of her comfort zone there a little bit. I like that a lot too. Well, this is really fun. I love the shadow here. So, okay, this is Meek Nadeko, right, with the chisels and the uniform. She gets that stolen, and we use like a shadowed hand, like it's literally like a hand in the foreground, and there's like shadow puppets, right? We use that as a metaphor for stealing stuff off of her, like her own shadows are stealing stuff from her, you know? I feel like there's a really meta element to this as well. The audience must be feeling the same thing Nadeko's feeling here. She comments that something is off. It can't be this easy. Again, it mirrors what the audience would be thinking about this. This seems way too easy. There must be some extra plan here. And lo and behold, there is. So the thing that she overlooked is this, right? Is that she was reading in the occult section. So cool Nadeko, she's reading the occult section books. She's reading up on snakes. Again, this is what she was doing in the bookstore back in the day. Basically looking for ways to fix this snake constrictor curse that was put on her. Again, later on when she's still killing snakes at a later date during a Tori Monogatari, right? That's more predicated on wanting Araragi to fall in love with me, right? I think. But initially the snake killing is more to do with the curse that was put on her by one of her classmates. Lo and behold, a lighting cue change, and yeah, that is the Nadeko from before. Again, but this isn't me from before, this is me now. So I still have the capacity to act like this on some level, to be this passive. So here's a cool thing I was just thinking about, right? So, okay, the existence of Meek Nadeko, again, as I just said, proves that Meek Nadeko and her, I guess, personality and actions and that kind of thing still lurk somewhere within Nadeko, right? That's why she was able to be manifested. We've seen this proven across Flirty Nadeko. I still have the capacity to at least act like this sometimes. Wrathful Nadeko, I at least have the capacity to be a wrathful Nadeko sometimes. I have the capacity to be a god Nadeko sometimes. Cool. Follow that to the nth degree. I am still the old me. The current me is still displaying some of the character traits of somebody that passive. And I think I'm linking this into her being a shut-in, right? What is the difference, right, between Meek Nadeko, back in the day, sitting idly by, not relying on anybody else, trying to kill snakes to get rid of the constrictor curse, trying to kill snakes to get Araragi to like her, as opposed to going out into the world and, you know, actually trying to make those things happen, actually putting in the effort. What's the difference between that passivity and the passivity that she is showing now by remaining a shut-in, by not going out into the world and trying to do all these other different things? I don't think there's any difference. And again, that's why this scene hits so hard, right? Is like, that's still me. That's still inside me, the capacity to do that. I think I've grown past that, but a shift in perspective shows that that's still ultimately something that I'm capable of. And Meek Nadeko's trap here ultimately symbolizes passivity. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't even get out of the way of the bookcases, right? She's simply just a decoy. Paper thin, nothing behind her, all these different things. It's ironic that Flirty Nadeko, the most socially aware one, the most socially butterfly-y of her personalities, is the one to ultimately save her from the representation of Meek Nadeko's passivity. And again, putting in an effort where Flirty Nadeko wouldn't normally put in the effort, using her physical brute strength as opposed to her social skills to do so, getting out of her comfort zone, doing something that isn't what she normally does, the exact opposite of being passive. I think there is definitely something in that for sure. Nadeko starts thinking about the what ifs. What if, I wasn't spotted in the bookstore that one time? What if a lot of things didn't happen? Would I have died from the constrictor curse? Would something else have happened? Or who knows? That is life. Life is a series of butterfly effects, and one of them is that you're still here alive now. I guess this is more referential to the thing that happens immediately after. What if I hadn't gone and picked up Flirty Nadeko before this? Then I would literally die right here, right now. I would have been crushed by the bookcases. Cause and effect. However, Nadeko kind of steels herself here with an element of destiny to all this. I'm sure that something would have happened elsewhere instead and I still would have met. Maybe something destiny with Araragi as well. It's inescapable. Inescapable. Almost like this is some kind of little trap or something. I'm still not sure entirely what occurs here to make the bookcases start to fall over, but they most certainly do, and we most certainly see a little bit of Meek Nadeko there. So maybe she got smushed, but unsure, probably not. I just think right now there's no reconciliation there with Meek Nadeko, like there is with the rest of the characters, right? The rest of the Nadekos. Which makes me think that she's coming back next episode. I don't think that's an especially bold prediction. Or more of this like projection stuff too. So there's a kind of gap in the bookcase where kind of Nadeko's life is flashing before her eyes. Instead of choosing my way to die, I would rather choose a way to live because, again, there's a bend of like positive and negative there, I would say, right? So again, instead of this being a lame way to die with a bookcase falling on me, she's thinking about things that she would rather do if her life was to continue, things that she would be missing out on if she was to die. I wish I'd been better friends with everybody, right? Up to and including Senjo, Jesus, oh my god. Even Shinobu and Senjo Gahara. Oh yeah, you have beef with Shinobu as well, right? Yeah, the snake. The snake's good against Shinobu. I remember. Because Shinobu and Araragi get kind of beaten up by God Nadeko, right? There during Otori at the very end. Yeah, I forgot that they had beef, sure. So I don't know what this, like, kind of chibi Nadeko scene's about. Like a bunch of different copies of herself in the darkness wondering why she isn't fucking dead. Why she's still alive, or maybe a representation for a familiar being conjured. I don't know. Either way, Flirty Nadeko's here, saving the day, holding up the bookcase from falling and killing us. So again, it's almost like this desire to keep on living and to forge new relationships with other different people, even people that I used to hate. That's what's propelling this familiar to be sprung forth and saving me, right? I don't think it's an accident as well that it's the familiar that's associated with social interaction. I want to have more deep and meaningful, tangible, actual social interaction with real people in the future. So I'm going to pop out and help the current me do that, sacrificing myself in the process. So yeah, kind of the outward appearance of the desire to want to continue to live and forge relationships is happening here, being cast and saving me from my certain doom. Again, filled to the brim with meaning, fantastic music buoying the scene, just a real highlight of the episode, I would say. As I said before, the voice acting here is brilliant. I love the choice of words for Flirty Nadeko, very befitting of her social butterfly type character. Really like it. Praising the outfit, praising that kind of stuff. A real Genki girl type persona put on here. Again, it all seems very frivolous with her. If you gave me a cooler name than Flirty Nadeko, I would have helped you the entire time. It goes on a real face turn here, I would say. Again, concerned with outward appearance. I'm making such a desperate effort here. That's so embarrassing. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, how embarrassing for me that I have to be shown putting effort into something. Yeah, again, like she was early in the season. The book there as well, thinking about your occupation. Probably a bit of a butchering of the translation there, but what should I do for a career? Something like that, right? Again, so nonchalant about it. Can you just try to make your way through that gap? I'm not going to be able to hold on for that much longer. I've never given all my effort, so this is me at my limit. Oh my god. What were those books? That was something else as well. History book, hobbies. Oh shit, I've never had a hobby, like a real hobby. Why did you save me? Because I was irritated? Yeah, irritated but in return you have to draw me even cuter next time. You were generally irritated by the embarrassing nature of having hobbies and that kind of thing. Anyway, in return, you have to draw me cuter next time. So this is also matching into the next thing we're doing with Wrathful Nadeko, right? So you didn't put enough detail into this version of me, and as a result, I was a little bit too flimsy. I was thin. I was paper thin, right? We kind of saw that through the old kind of love heart thing back in episode whatever it was when we were fighting Flirty Nadeko, right? Also, like, Augie's just fucked off. Augie just left. Augie's playing on the play equipment. We don't know where Augie is. Nadeko, you don't put enough detail into your shoes. I should have put more detail into the shoes last week as well, and I wouldn't have wasted that much time talking about them. Anyway, put more effort into your drawings, be a better mangaka, embrace your hobbies more, put more effort into reconsidering old versions of yourself and aspects of your personality that you want to shut away. Put more effort into social interaction. Lots and lots of different directions you can take this individual scene here, and I like all of them for the record. Next time, give me shoes that match the outfit, maybe put me in a cute outfit such as this one. Of course, ending the scene here with that pinky promise, I promise to do better by these different aspects of myself, right? I'm not going to be frivolous by it. I'm not going to throw away your sacrifice for me. I'm going to consider you in everything I'm doing going forward, right? Even the shadow here too, reconciling and promising with her shadow, right? With that other two-dimensional version of herself. Even more pronounced here with the very bright white background and the kind of drawerly shade behind her, I would say, right? I'll make sure to draw you again, and this time you won't be hollow, right? You'll be a three-dimensional perfect character person instead of what I made you, right? Again, making peace with old versions of yourself, basically Monogatari's MO, right? What else is Araragi Orgi than that? What is him saving this other version of himself right in the day, right? Like in Orgi Dark, what else is he doing other than this, right? What else is Hanakawa doing in Nekoshiro, right? Other than this, right? Love it, love it, love it, love it. Even some of the stuff in Owari with the first and that kind of stuff, right? That's almost Shinobu reconciling with that version of herself as well. Not herself, but you know what I mean. That older version, right? And yeah, ending the scene there, of course, with like Pinky promising myself. Bringing forth this outward perception, this familiar that I was separating from myself into my own soul. That's what she's doing here. In Pinky promising with this character design over here, she's Pinky promising now with herself. She's brought it all internal. Either way, more tangibly, the whole bookstore's ruined. You ruined this person's business, help? So Ononoki's fine, which is good. Ononoki was just standing on the stairs and just kind of watched the big kind of bookcase fall thing. I was at a loss with no means of contacting you. It almost seems like Yotsugi is like distraught at the fact that she almost lost Nadeko here. I mean, as distraught as we can get with an emotionless character like this. But yeah, I like that connection a lot. Either way, it seems like I sacrificed Flirty Nadeko in this process. But one of the greatest desires of a familiar is to protect its master. So, hey, that's kind of what she wanted to do. It was second nature for her. I would know. I am one. So again, if we want to take it a step further, she was your stand-in, right? For the decoy, right? What's a good example? Probably Pokemon again, right? So we had stupid Meek Nadeko on one side, right? She used something like Explosion, right? Or something like Destiny Bond, right? And we had a substitute up. We used the substitute. She came out as that substitute, as that stand-in for the decoy, right? In being fake, she was being real. Again, all that great Monogatari stuff. Seems like Meek Nadeko also got crushed. I don't see a body, I don't believe you. But the running theory we're going with right now is that God Nadeko didn't consider Meek Nadeko that much at all, used her as a decoy, as bait again, and the actual Nadeko fell for it. You didn't consider her at all in all of this, right? I don't think that's the truth, we'll see. But again, it's built in contrast, right? We have on one side a master that does not care for their subjugate or whatever, right? Their little friend. We have God Nadeko not caring for Meek Nadeko and her well-being. And on the other side, we have current Nadeko, who very, very much cares about her familiars, right? Very, very much cares about Flirty Nadeko and had a really touching scene saying goodbye, right? It's a stark difference between the two characters there and causes you to be pissed off. I'm pissed off. On some level, there is a version of me that is capable of being this ruthless with other versions of myself, which is not who I want to be. That pisses me off. We present a very real-world problem here that I don't think we'll really reference that much, but we'll say. Now that Meek Nadeko's gone, her, like, kind of barrier of, like, nothing's going on here stuff will go away. So employees and customers could find the shop like this. That may cause trouble. I've already caused trouble, kind of. I kind of ruined their shop. Either way, our justification here is that I should become a great mangaka. That way I would hold a signing here, and hey, that'll make up for my mistakes here. Again, tying it into that grand kind of goal in all of this of being a great mangaka. I think that's a great move. We go up to the second floor of the establishment here, and that's where the manga is. That's where the children's books are. And lo and behold, there's also 100 fucking Nadekos. Oh my god. So I just didn't talk about this, and I have no idea why I didn't. The different floors of the bookstore are very, very important. So, one, they've chosen the bookstore to be their main base of operations, but the one that's in charge, which is God Nadeko, still on some level wanted to base herself on the floor that's mostly associated with manga. There's definitely something in that. Again, all the way back to Koi Monogatari, right? And the Kaiki stuff. Like Kaiki pressing on this kind of manga hobby, and that being the unraveling of God Nadeko, that being like her one fatal flaw. Like the thing that she can't live with and can't live without, you know? Like, it's her Achilles heel is the manga, and we're going to use that in the same way here in the climax on some level, I think, for sure. So again, this whole thing's predicated on, me, I don't want to be a mangaka, I'm going to run away. We're all going to run away, right? We don't want to do that. She's still drawn towards it. She's still on some level drawn towards being a current Nadeko, almost completing that life cycle of the Nadeko as well. So yeah, again, that's where they're based on the kind of manga children's game kind of floor a little bit later on in this scene, right? The other one would be the first floor. The first floor is mainly, non-fiction, historical texts, that kind of thing, the occult. Again, history, these things of the past. No narrative to it, no story to it, just kind of the raw facts. I think, again, getting across this element of passivity that's associated with Meek Nadeko. Again, on one level, history books, the old me, this is ancient history, that kind of vibe as well to the floors being chosen. But again, mainly, honing in on that lack of story in the texts that are on the first floor in the books. I think that's relevant to Meek Nadeko's character. Again, very famously, very early in the show, I said that she was a character without character. I said that she was a character almost without story, that was so passive in Nadeko Snake that the arc wasn't actually even about her. It was mostly about Araragi, right? Yeah, shit. That's really, really smart. It's really, really smart. So again, as I talked about, this automatically explains a couple of things. One, why was Lumi Nadeko spotted way more than the other Nadeko, the swimsuit one? There's more of her. Makes sense. Makes sense that Kambaro would have been one to spot her as well. Or that Sodachi was one to spot her as well. All these other different things, right? That now makes more sense, and again, kind of fits into our timeline stuff that I talked about before. This seems like a reference to, this is some like Katamari bullshit. What is this? Either way, seems like somebody's mass-produced all these different shirtless Nadekos, right? How? How did they do that? They literally fucking photocopied them. Maybe we should have considered that the person we're dealing with in God Nadeko is somebody that used to employ 100,000 snakes to work as familiars. So doing 100 different little Nadeko familiars isn't as hard. All these characters are copies. They're literally copies. They're not drawings of the same character. There's no difference in the designs. They've literally been photocopied. So, if you wanted to, again, establish this kind of dichotomy between God Nadeko and current Nadeko, effortful, drawing everybody, making effort to draw them better, making effort to draw them different, right? On the other side, we have God Nadeko, photocopying, not wanting to put in the effort, just kind of coasting by on something else, and is content with not putting in the effort to draw them, just copying them over and over again. Again, there's really definitely one that seems like the hero here, and one that definitely seems like the villain, I would say. Again, this is really bad. Again, if Guyan learns about you conjuring a familiar that can conjure familiars, that seems like the kind of thing should be really concerned about. So let's try our best not to let this go out. Yeah, what is this, like, panda bullshit? I don't know. Either way, there's way too many Lumi Nadekos here. We can't have any kind of showdown with the bookstore like it is right now. Too many places to hide, not open enough, blah, 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 blah. However, we must consider that all these Lumi Nadekos are just pawns, right? They're not the real kind of villain here. So yes, we may be at an overwhelming disadvantage when it comes to numbers, but when it comes to commands, we're doing way better. We have more mind going on, right? So at the end of the day, they're familiars, and mindless copied familiars at that, right? They're not real familiars like me and you, right? Well, one of us. God Nadeko doesn't have the processing power to make all of them effective at once. Thus, we shouldn't worry about them too much. Again, they are akin to pawns in a game of shogi or chess, right? Where they're a weaker piece, they are deadly in certain situations, but not really, not overly. Not like two queens over here, oh my god. Or a king and a queen, depending on your certain persuasions, I guess. I'm looking at the background here too. All of these are probably more specific Japanese-ish references, I would say, but this just very much invokes library for me, or like bookstore. Yeah, very ABC store. If you know, you know. Particularly here, the Renai circulation one here is the one that I'm overly looking at, I would say. Nadeko Twister? Oh no, remember Nisei? They tried to play Twister back in the day. Yeah, I remember. I definitely remember. And yeah, there's some Yotsugi bullshit here too. Oh yeah, we can also see it in their designs right now, all the different Lumi Nadekos. They're kind of acting like bots. They're kind of just walking around, not even really reading what they're reading, just kind of using them to cover up their bodies. Like, they're not going to be an issue, they're just bots. This is much like the human wall that Flirty Nadeko put up, but those humans are myself this time. It's hard to get in and capture her if there's so many other people in the way, right? You know, there's no opening, there's no gap. We're just kind of setting up the state of play for next episode right now, I would say, right? We're going to use those human walls here and there, and we're going to have to play around that. We're going to have to use Wrathful Nadeko to our advantage in that regard. Yotsugi uses her hand here. We know that she's over that direction generally, right? We have that to our advantage. She also hasn't noticed this yet. She doesn't know that we're here. I find that hard to believe with the ruckus that happened downstairs, but I digress. Either way, even if they did notice, they don't have the composure right now to hide the decoys and the traps. So they already know that one of them didn't work, or maybe worked, or whatever. Like, there's too many things on her plate. She can't really focus that hard. Either way, we can't just, like, fucking bum rush her. We need some kind of strategy here. Yotsugi have any ideas? She's like, I shouldn't touch anything. Everything I touch goes to shit ever since Tsukihi put her influence on me, basically. Again, these birds here, phoenixes, potentially. It seems like all my shit's out of order, my body's a patchwork, my right hand's mud, I can't use unlimited rulebook as many times as I want. I'm all muddled up, as we see here with the manga volume metaphor again, all out of order, all the different volumes. So therefore, our protagonist needs to come up with a strategy instead, and what do we opt for? So the plan seems to be to use unlimited rulebook, just to kind of clear the space initially, at least reveal her, or try to hit her initially. At least we know she's in that direction. We also establish here that will the other kind of shadowed Lumina Decos here, or Lumina Decos as I should say, will they all go down once we kill the master? Probably. Most probably, you would say. So knock down the god snake, all the little snakes go, that kind of vibe. The shadows on the snake here is very cool too. Again, those books like dominoes falling down upon the first one falling, you know? But the reversal here also applies. If we were to kill you, all the other versions of you would also die, you know? Maybe there's something in that. Remember that you're also the master of God Nadeko at the end of the day. Maybe there's something in killing yourself and taking out God Nadeko at the same time. But again, we immediately say no, probably not the right idea. It's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, no. So as almost the last resort now, we turn to Wrathful Nadeko. She's mad. She's angry, right? It's predicated on this bad haircut. Been there. I get mad at bad haircuts all the time. So then we've come up with a solution, right? What if we tidied up her hair, made it shorter, and represented her, right? Fixed up the familiar. Right? It's on the page right now. It's a drawing. I could erase certain things and redraw certain things and improve myself in that way. And maybe that's our ticket to victory. Again, also in the process, kind of rectifying this problem of the past, rectifying this version of myself and their problem, right? Working on myself, fixing myself, and ultimately that leading us to like victory. I really like that metaphorically for sure. Oh, that's really cute. Okay, so you say with opposed look again, and that like causes you to pause slightly upon doing the unlimited rulebook, right? Holy fuck, that was good animation too. Yeah, you meant to, like, I thought you dropped the posed look thing. She accidentally said her catchphrase, oh no. Hopefully nobody hears me. There's somebody in particular really didn't like you saying that. Was it Shinobu? Hopefully Shinobu didn't hear you saying that. Either way, Yotsugi flung backwards. Very cool. Kind of attacked too hard, lost the hand. She's pretty much useless from here on out, you would say. We end the episode with like a cool like God Nadeko voice acting like remix thing where she's like dancing around. Like it's a weird like dubstep breakdown right here at the end of the episode. It kind of like really pumped me up for the next episode too. I really wanted to see the next one after this. Little hand on the back too, which I love. I really, really love this ending scene. It's so fun. Even here, this snake here with all the what symbol's that? It's almost like a foo or something, right? Isn't that something that they do? They say like foo 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 foo, like that kind of thing. It's like she's laughing. It's mirroring the laughing back at her, and it's like a white snake at the same time. Yeah, I like it. I think that's pretty cool. Leads to the costume change as well, that kind of red and white thing going on. Really, really love it. Yeah, the colors there are awesome. Yeah, this is kind of like that lead into the, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you ending. Oh, it's so fucking awesome. It's like a boss entrance. It's so cool. The god has spoken thus. She's gonna fucking murder me. And that's how we're ending the episode here today. Fan-fucking-tastic. That was so good. That was so good. How long did I speak about it? About 70 minutes. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Endlessly impressed. Very, very, very good. I will return next week for more. I'm very excited. Just on a kind of storytelling level, on a metaphor level, on an everything making sense level, it's 10 out of 10. Really, really enjoying this character study of Nadeko and looking at her and how she's different from before, but how she's ultimately the same as before as well. And again, reconciling all of these different things, all the little visual touches. The stuff with the cars was brilliant. The stuff with the ice cream was brilliant. The stuff everywhere was brilliant. The stuff in the bookstore, holy shit, is this a good visual fucking anime. It's fucking amazing. Yeah, I'll see you next week. There'll be more. Thanks for watching, I guess. Patreon, if you want to be 1 week ahead. Discord, talk to me about the show. I love talking Monogatari, of course. Like the video, subscribe. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.